Welcome to Coffee Time, your favorite talk show in Dave's class. The show that gives you what Dave wants to hear whenever Dave wants to. With ultimately handsome Santiago Raya, partially handsome Santiago Agras, also partially handsome Jose Pablo Suarez, and not at all handsome Francisco Bravo. Today on Coffee Time, we'll be talking about open markets.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time. Here your host, Jose Pablo Suarez. Let's begin. In economy books, markets are supposed to be competitive. In reality, there is a growing evidence that markets are becoming ever less so. From tech to airlines to banking, the biggest companies are growing more dominate. Ownership of many firms is more concentrated. Profits are soared relative to workers' pay, and modern capitalism may do more to benefit ins- insiders than foster competition. Today, in Coffee Time, we have our experts in economy to try to answer the following question: what is the best way to improve competition in modern capitalism? Please, Santiago Raya, Santiago Gras, what are your thoughts about this subject?
Thank you, Jose Pablo. It's great being here again. By the way, it's a very nice coffee.
Indeed, very nice coffee. It's a pleasure being here too. Let's begin with a definition of capitalism.
Now, first of all, I think it is very important to know what capitalism is and how it has been developing and changing a long time. So, capitalism, according to Merriam-Webster, it is an economic and social system in which participants privately own the means of production, called capital. Free market competition, not a central government or regulating body, dictates production levels and prices.
Very
Now,
interesting, Santiago.
I know it is. How it works. Under capitalism, prices and wages are determined by the forces of supply and demand. Members of a capitalism economy are driven to obtain the maximum amount of utility, at least at the least cost. Privately owned industry caters to be a consumed sector that wants goods and services of the highest value for the lowest price. Competition forces companies to keep prices low to attract consumers. The role of government in a capitalist society is to protect the legal rights of actors in the economy, not to regulate the free market of system.
Okay, Santiago already explained how capitalism works, but now I would like to explain the history behind it. The history of capitalism has diverse and much debated roots, but fully fledged capitalism is generally thought to have emerged in Northwest Europe, especially in Britain, in the 16th to 17th centuries. Over the following centuries, capital has been accumulated by a variety of different methods, in a variety of scales, and associated with a great deal of variation in the concentration of economic power and wealth, and capitalism has gradually become the dominant economic system throughout the world. Much of the history of the past 500 years is therefore concerned with the development of capitalism in its various forms. Very interesting. What do you think?
Well, I think that capitalism, as it has been described previously, it sounds as a very good idea, but lately it seems like if capitalism has reached a peak and it cannot be developed anymore, like if it's leaving competition on a side and there's no more of it because of how big companies have become, and now they own everything and they are not leaving actual competition for other companies to join this economic movement, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like in the world we have like clear examples, like the big enterprises that you and I know, like Apple, Microsoft, Telmex it's a very good example in Mexico. And these companies are betraying the main goal of the capitalism, the competition, because it was invented because improve the quality of the products.
And as a clear example of this, to follow your example of Apple and all those giant corporations, we've got cell phones and how they have been developed and changing every year and for the last 10 years or so. Like, it all started with a phone and Apple made it and or anyone else, but then some other company launched a phone the same year to be better than the other one, and like every year Apple launches a new phone, and at every year Samsung launches a new phone to outcome that last phone, or to be better, to prove that Samsung is better than Apple or vice versa. But it just improves competition and gives every product the better version of it. But now it seems like if those big companies were the big supplier or the only supplier of phones for the whole world, and it's living outside other small companies who want to try to get in business, but these two big companies are not living them, and it's becoming a monopoly.
Yeah, I completely agree. And monopolies are the ones that are killing the modern capitalism.
Yeah, 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 totally. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, in summary, the competition in capitalism is the opportunity for everyone to participate in the economy, to make the products better with more affordable prices, and to innovate.
Okay, so now that we have that whole competition floor covered, I would like to get us more into how we're gonna fix modern capitalism, or our ideas on how it will get improved, and we could have what capitalism at the very beginning was, because it was an idea of how citizens could have whatever they needed for right price, because there was an equal balance on supply and demand.
Alright, the current situation needs to be seen in the perspective of the long history of capitalism, particularly in the extraordinary versatility and flexibility. The events of the century, especially since the Great Depression, show that modified and mixed or welfare capitalism has succeeded in building a floor under the economy. It has so far been able to prevent economic downturns from gaining enough momentum to bring about a collapse of the magnitude of the 1930s. This is no small accomplishment, and it has been achieved without the surrender of the personal liberty or political democracy.
This free capitalism was a great starter of the economy, but now it seems like it's getting out of control. Now, as times are changing, people are changing, we are changing, the playground isn't the same. And I ask you, all of you, why are we playing the same way?
Okay, that's a very nice way to put it. I think we are ready to conclude.
Yeah, I think we're cool.
In my opinion, to improve competition in modern capitalism, it will be needed a proper regulation
Yeah,
applied by governments
yeah, yeah.
to the private sector of the economy, but not forgetting that the government isn't the leading part in the game. It will be the supervisor of the more strict rules of the economy to let the small entrepreneurs to offer their products in the free market.
That's a very good way to conclude, indeed. Yes.
Okay, we leave you with our presenter, Jose Pablo Suarez.
Well, thank you, Santiago Raya and Santiago Agras. Thank you to our audience. See you next coffee time.